The views and content expressed on the following program are provided solely for informational and entertainment purposes. They do not constitute legal advice. A podcast is not a substitute for retaining a competent, licensed attorney to advise you on your specific legal situation.
Break the business, play is work and work is play. Power into creators, have fun along the way. Break the business, doing what it takes. Celebrate success and learn from the mistakes.
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. It is time for Break the Business, where we empower indie creators and have some fun along the way. I'm Ryan Kairalla, and it is a pleasure to have you here this week. It is our final show of this lovely month of February that we've had, and oh, what a February it has been, Break the Business viewers and listeners. We have brought you so many goodies this month. We brought you Harvard law professors, Kickstarter masters, music tech entrepreneurs, just an embarrassment of riches, of amazing guests, experts, just telling you how to move your careers forward. And it has been our pleasure to do it for you. We love that you hang out with us every week. And the guests are going to continue to roll through this show as well. Our guest this week, one of my favorite people in this business we call entertainment. I am thrilled that she's joining us later in the show. Cassandra Kubinski is going to be joining us. Let me tell you what I like about her. Whatever I want to talk about in terms of artist empowerment and helping you move your career forward, Cassandra Kubinski's got something to say on it. You want to learn how to get your music placed in movies and TV shows? Cassandra's got you covered. She's gotten her music placed in a lot of great things. You want to learn how to combine your music and your art with social causes? Cassandra's done that with so many amazing causes, and we can talk to her about that. You thinking you want to get into acting and learn how to spread your wings? Well, she's an accomplished actress. She's been in a lot of movies and video games, TV shows. She's wonderful, wonderful. And on top of all of that, if that wasn't enough, she's just such a damn nice person, and you're just going to love hearing from her. Oh, and by the way, she's going to play a song for us on this show. So if there was ever a reason to stick around and it wasn't just for me, stick around for Cassandra, because she is just going to make you smile. She's going to make just light up your life and just make the next hour terrific here on Break the Business. So don't go anywhere for that. Speaking of people who make me smile every time I see them, producer Lauren, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing?
Doing so well. As if like my ode to Cassandra Kubinski alone didn't let you know how good of a mood I was in that she's here. I'm in a great mood. And I want to talk to you, Lauren, before we get into the show. We got lots of things to talk about, right? We got the AI Overlords tip of the week. We got some great music and entertainment industry news to go over. But before all of that, I want to talk about something that I wanted to actually discuss with you last week, Lauren, and we didn't have time. We didn't get into it, and that was a big bummer on my part because I've been thinking about it ever since you brought it up. Before last week's show, you had casually mentioned to me that in addition to like everything else you do, producing this show and being like an accomplished entertainment industry professional, touring all over the world and all that stuff, you're also kind of a hero that's like saving the community, like just a hero walking among us on this radio show. Did I hear this right? Like you're am I wrong when I say like you're a legit hero? No,
but yeah. No, yeah, you know me.
Like,
I'm a workaholic.
Am I wrong when I say that when disaster strikes, they call upon you to provide aid?
Fair enough. It does happen. I do not speak on behalf of the organizations from which I volunteer, but I do like volunteering and I do like helping whenever is needed. And I've recently been assigned to the Disaster Action Team, I think it's called DAT, with the American Red Cross. It sounds like a group
of superheroes.
It does, right? And you too can help. Your local branches, I'm sure, are also looking for volunteers. But the American Red Cross is an amazing organization, and they do stuff all over the world, really. And there's a lot of things that you can do in your communities. And so, though I'm not speaking on their behalf, I do highly recommend finding them and working with them. I'm usually not a big organization person. Like I like helping one-on-one locally in my community. But they're really kind of awesome.
And you were telling us that the way this works is some kind of disaster type issue happens and you'll just get like something on your phone, like Batman's bat signal, and you just have to and you just spring into action. You go where you're needed.
Spring into action.
Could you actually get like a message in the middle of this show and you're just going to leave us?
I wouldn't leave you, but they did. They did
you
give me a call like right before the last show, and I was like, call around, and if you can't find anybody else, call me back.
I mean, you say you won't leave us if you get the call, but you kind of should.
If they called me and said like
somebody's
they didn't,
life.
Oh no. Okay, for the record, I'm not saving anybody's life. Like if there's a fire and a house is burning down, they use the first responders for that. I kind of feel like a second responder.
A second responder. Where's our calendar?
I think that that it's more of a person to person thing. Like there are people dealing with the tragedy, and a lot of the time you'll see the individuals kind of wandering around going, but I don't know what to do next. And the Red Cross does help quite a bit with helping people navigate anything really. Like people just get very, very, very thrown off when disaster hits and really don't know what to do next. And so any kind of help that they can give is really kind of cool. They're an organization that does a lot of work to help the people, the individuals that actually need the help.
Well, that sounds legitimately heroic for me. And it also sounds like a role in which you're particularly well suited. I mean, you for my whole life when I'm wandering through the wilderness, you're like the person that is there with like the hot cup of cocoa and the blanket. So it makes perfect sense. You do that for creators all the time. So you should be doing that for the Red Cross. There you go. You're going to get the highest honor in podcasting, the cartoon party horn sound effect.
Yay.
All right. Well, that as if I didn't need any more reasons to smile, just hearing what you're doing there is super inspiring. Let us now pay homage to our Chat GPT overlords with the AI Overlords Tip of the Week.
AI Overlord Tip of the Week. AI Overlord Tip of the Week. AI Overlord Tip of the Week. AI Overlord Tip of the Week.
We have asked the overlords. You love that piece at the end, the little guitar.
I do. Shout out to Luis Gonzalez who wrote that for us.
Yeah.
Who said, if you need any jingles, just reach out.
That's my second favorite part of the AI Overlords jingle is the meow. My number one favorite part of that jingle is the one set of vocals where it's just really, really high and screaming. Like you can't hear it because you can't hear it like the strongest because it's not like the lead vocal. But there's one person in the background just going,
There's a
I
really
love that
low
guy.
one too. Like where he's just
Is there a low one?
AI Overlord Tip of the Week. Yeah, if you listen, there's like a full range. And it was all the one person. Like he just sat there and recorded 14 million voices for himself.
It's
It
fabulous.
entertained the heck out of me.
And 2 weeks ago, it got the seal of approval of Harvard law professor Alan Jenkins. So
How cool is that?
what more do you need? That's the second highest praise you can get on this show. The highest praise, of course, is the cartoon party horn. So here is our tip of the week from our AI overlords.
Okay.
It's about money. The tip is manage your finances carefully as an independent creator to ensure the long-term sustainability of your business. Start by setting a budget and tracking your income and expenses so you have a clear picture of your financial situation. Make sure to keep your personal and business finances separate to avoid confusion and to simplify your tax filing. Consider setting up an emergency fund to cover unexpected expenses or fluctuations in income. When it comes to pricing your products or services, be sure to factor in all of your costs and set a price that reflects the value you provide. Finally, don't forget to plan for the future and invest in your business by setting aside money for growth opportunities or professional development. With careful money management, you can ensure the financial stability of your independent creative business and achieve your long-term goals. Another banger piece of advice from our AI overlords. One of the pieces
like
in
it.
there that I think is particularly worthy of attention right now, it's certainly on the top of my mind as we get to, as we get closer to April 15th, is about taxes and
Yes.
how important it is to separate your expenses. I often will tell independent creators when it becomes feasible enough for you to do it, create a separate entertainment company and give it a separate bank account. And everything that you spend for your business, spend out of that bank account. And all the money that you make in your business, make sure it goes into that bank account and keep that bank account separate from your personal account, because that will make tax time so much easier, because you don't have to go through all your bank statements. You just go through the bank statements of your entertainment company. You find what you spent, you found what you make, and it makes your life easier. And if you have an accountant, it makes their life easier too.
Ditto with credit cards. I always recommend getting a business credit card, because at the end of the year, they itemize things for you and categorize them for you. And you don't go, oh, wait, was that for me? Was that a guitar I purchased? Like, it all goes into one place where you can find it all really easily. And I like that.
And a lot of them come with points and things like that too, that you can use for different things
Bonus.
in your career.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if
And,
you're traveling, the idea of like getting frequent flyer miles can be helpful if you're one of those musicians that travel and going on tour.
Yeah, yeah. And then now we feel like we're doing credit card commercials. Be like, look up the pros and cons
Chase
of each
Sapphire.
of them. Sometimes you can get a bonus just for signing up. Yeah.
true,
And the
though.
other thing, if you've got a business account where all of the money for your business is going in, pay yourself. So you can pay yourself out of your business account and go into your personal account, so that you're not spending personal money in and out of the business account, and so that you have a record of that. And now if your business is hiring you as a person working for that business, that also helps you get things like your W-2 from the company you're working for, which again makes your life easier at tax time.
Yep. You can set up an S Corp and hire yourself as an employee, pay yourself a regular salary, and that can help you avoid some self-employment taxes, allow you to deduct that salary. That being said, it is a slightly complicated maneuver, so make sure you have an accountant shepherding you, a Sherpa-ing you on that journey to make sure you don't mess that up. But yeah, a lot of creators can benefit from that kind of structure. So, that's just one of the ways that effective money management can really set you up for success as a creator. And it does actually remind me of our guest, Cassandra Kubinski, whose latest single is titled Money Mantra, that she did with Olivia Kay. And that whole song is about how artists can develop a healthy relationship with money and find that money can be fun and enriching and a little sexy. And so love to get her
love that
perspective on
segue.
money management. That's just true. I mean, it's the
You're
first
like,
thing I
look
thought
at
of.
here. I've got this connection for you right here.
But here's what I mean, though. Like when I said at the
sure.
top of the show, whatever topic I want to talk about in indie creation, I know that Cassandra Kubinski's got some info for us. You
Yeah.
want to get sync placements, talk to Cassandra. You want advice on money management, talk to Cassandra. You want to get into acting, talk to her. Like she's got just so much knowledge, so much experience, and she's so kind in that she'll share all of it with you.
Now, how did the AI overlord know that we were bringing on somebody who was going to talk about money mantra?
Oh, I don't even joke anymore about how
Like
the AI
creepy.
overlord knows what we're talking about each week. Like that, the fact that the AI overlord is in our heads now and knows what we're doing and what we're thinking, that's old news. We've already accepted that fact. That doesn't even surprise or scare me anymore.
It still surprises and scares me. I feel the need to continually be aware of it so that I can't go, well, I didn't see it coming. No,
right.
I see it coming.
Oh. So I was looking, Lauren, at some news out of Facebook that
Uh-oh, that's
I thought
where you're
was
getting your news? That's dangerous.
well, it's funny with these social media companies. Whenever one of them does something, the other one's going to do it a little bit later.
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're just kind of waiting for one of the two companies to sort of take the plunge. And I know, for example, that all of these social media platforms, they want to be able to charge their users for premium service. Like right now, all
For
of those
everything,
right, all
ideally.
those platforms are free, right? And they're looking for ways to kind of turn their users into revenue streams. And for a long time, Twitter was purely free, Facebook, Meta, Instagram, purely free. And then recently, Twitter announced that they were going to allow people to pay for verification. This Twitter Blue, where you could pay every month, and you get the blue check, which used to just be reserved for the celebrities and public figures. Now anybody can get a blue check, and you can pay for that. And everybody got outraged, but Facebook was like, "Oh, good, Twitter did it, and now we can do it, and now we're not the jerks that did it first." So Facebook, or Meta, just announced that Facebook and Instagram are going to add their own paid verification system that is similar to the Twitter blue check mark. The price point's a little steep. I was surprised at this. $11.99 a month or $14.99 a month if purchased on mobile. And so this is a significant expense, but Meta has suggested that this might be something that is valuable for particularly indie creators to look into once it becomes widely available. Because the Meta Verified program, which is what they're calling it, has a few benefits. One, because you have this verification, which is going to have a very strict verification mechanism behind it. You're going to have to show your driver's license. You have to confirm that it's you. And once you've set that up, you get additional protection against hacking. It's harder for somebody to hack into your account. If somebody does hack into your account, it's easier for Facebook to verify that it's not you because they know who you are. Facebook's going to give you dedicated customer support. So if you're having an issue with your account, rather than the current state of affairs where you message Facebook and nothing happens, now you'll actually get a support representative who's going to be able to help you sort out your account issue. And here's perhaps the biggest potential value add that Meta is saying is going to be big for creators. The creators who participate in Meta Verified are supposed to get increased visibility and reach on the platform. So you are paying for more people to see your posts, more people to see your content. And I'm sure a lot of creators out there would love that, especially because there's been some rumors that in the last couple of years, Facebook has kind of depressed the amount of people who see your posts. And so this might be a way to kind of boost them back up. But I think a lot of creators are also like, well, this used to be free. Now you're paying me to get to my audience. It's going to be interesting to see how creators respond to this.
Paying you to make money on me. Like, it was bad enough when you were making money on me and not paying me, but now I'm paying you to make money on me. Like, I don't, and it's like you're charging more and actually devaluing things. So like you say, like, it used to only be famous people who got that verification, and now you're going, well, it's just anybody with money. And now we're getting back to the like, well, as long as you have money, then we'll pay attention to you. Then we'll give you attention. Then we'll get you an audience. It's like pay to play. Like I don't love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I see it coming, and it's not that it, they don't charge for everything anyway, but like, it doesn't feel like it's benefiting the artists.
And it's also one of those things where if all the artists get it, or if a lot of artists get it, then it's not really an advantage anymore, right?
Well, and besides that, let's go with the people who have the money and can afford to pay for this kind of a service. We're already getting more exposure than somebody who is not able to pay these things. So now you're going, well, you could pay to get more exposure. Yeah. Or I could disappear more into the ethers because other people are paying to get seen ahead of me. Like, I don't know.
It's an interesting shift in approach for Facebook. And maybe I'm naive, but I never thought in my lifetime Facebook would ever charge one of its users to use the platform. Like remember when I was one of the Facebook early adopters when I was in college, and their slogan for the longest time was Facebook is free and it always will be. They put that right on the homepage for you to see. And I never thought that this day would come because, and not because I was naive, but I just knew it wasn't Facebook's business model. Facebook's business model is the reason why it's free for the users is because you're not the customer. You're the
Right.
product.
Right.
You are creating things. You are on the platform so that Facebook can sell you to advertisers and put you in front of advertisers. So now if we're shifting the model to say that the users are now also are not just the product, but they're the customer, we're going to start treating them like customers,
Right.
and we're going to start charging them like customers.
Right.
That is a huge shift from the Facebook that, we grew up with in the mid 2000s.
And how different is that than basically paying as an advertiser? Like, I'm paying you to advertise what it is I'm posting
Yeah.
because I'm paying for it. I mean, they've had this verification thing where you can get verified by sending in your, oh God, it's so complicated, your driver's license,
Yeah.
and then they mail something to your house, and then after they mail it to your house, you have to put in the code that then gives them, like, it's a 3-step process. It was for me to get verified on something, and they had that. So them charging for it now seems greedy. Dare I say it? Yeah. I didn't know we were going to talk about that, but I feel like it's not helping the everyman, and platforms like Facebook were designed for the everyman. Like, it was designed, like you said, a place that everybody could go and everybody could do it. And the more that they're going, well, if you can afford, I mean, like, $13, $15 a month is a lot. Like,
That's
you
a
pay less than
significant
that.
expense.
You pay less than that for, like, streaming these services and these.
Yeah, this is not a inconsiderable amount. It would put a dent in a lot of creators' budgets. Here's the thing that I think is kind of funny about it is I am surprised that Facebook had the opportunity to see Twitter roll out their version of paid verification, see it get universally reviled by Twitter's user base. Everybody hated this. Elon got so much guff for it by Twitter's user base. The people who pay for verification on Twitter almost immediately get mocked. Every time somebody with paid verification tweets anything, like even in a response to a tweet, people just immediately replied, "Hey, look at the idiot who just paid for Twitter." And it's vicious. And so Facebook looked at all of that, saw that wasteland, and just went, "Oh yeah, we got to do that too."
Okay, but like, if I looked and I went, they're really struggling. I see the things on Wikipedia all the time where you're like, look, they're trying to find a way to keep themselves open. Look, they're really suffering, and if they don't start charging, they won't be able to stay alive. And that is not the case here. Like, this isn't a company going, if we don't figure out a way to start charging, we can't stay open. Like, this is just greedy.
Well, and this is a company that's already made clear in their recent strategic moves that Facebook, the Facebook product, is not the future of that company. Like, they changed their name to Meta, and their future, at least what they're making a bet on, is the metaverse. It's
Right.
VR, it's headsets, it's Quest, and Facebook is just, the legacy product. So they're not even making a bet on Facebook being the future of this company, and yet they're trying to squeeze a little more profit out of it in the short term. And as much as we can critique it and hate on it, we may be in a situation even on this program where we may feel like we have to get this service to be able to keep up and make sure that our posts reach the people we want it to reach. We want to reach on Facebook. And that's a depressing thought, but we may have no choice.
But we don't have to be happy about it.
That's and we certainly won't be.
There, I keep going, well, if I want to complain, I might as well open my own platform, because, it's easy for me to sit on this side and go, well, I don't think you should. Well, it's not my place to decide, but it does feel like there are so many people loyal to these companies and these platforms, the TikToks and the Twitters and the Instagrams and the Facebooks and the everything, that, like, the creators are showing loyalty. The creators are showing their commitment to these companies, and these companies over and over again are going, thanks. I mean, like, we don't share it, but thanks. And and sometimes they're not even going, thanks. They're going, wow, we got these guys snookered. Let's do it again. Like, they're already hooked. And I don't see the loyalty going both ways. Like, where's the reward system? You post X amount of times a month and we're going to give you a boost. After you've posted for a year straight more than 3 times a week, we'll verify you. Like, no, they're not rewarding consistency and loyalty. They're charging more for it. I don't like it.
Well, it reminds me of, and the reason why this happens, like when we say, why do these tech firms get greedy? Why is whatever they have, why is the current growth that they have not enough? And I remember when we had Bill Bolden on the show, our resident technology expert and startup expert, we asked Bill, why are companies like this? Why don't they look at their existing profitability and go, all right, we're good with this? And what they told us was, that's just not the way these companies view it. It's like the investors don't just demand profitability. They demand growth, and you always have to keep growing. You can't just stay where you are at your current level of profitability and, just go from there. Like, they always want to see 3x, 8x growth over and over year consistently. And even though that's not sustainable, so a company like Facebook, which was having exponential growth for the last 20 years, is now starting to become a mature company, and the investors don't want that. They're like, no, we want the same growth that we saw in 2012. Right. And so this is where you really want to, we demand you continue to squeeze your customers. Now you have to do the really difficult, slimy things to get those extra dollars. Start charging your users a platform that they had for free. Start charging big numbers, and it's it's a sad prospect.
It's not greedy customers, it's greedy investors.
I mean, the market has an expectation, yeah.
Well, and it's rough because, you want your money to make money and you invest in something, and when that investment isn't bringing in enough profit, you take that money and put it somewhere else. And so you've got boards and people that are going, yeah, but we need to keep bringing in money. And it's just it's a scary thought. We're not creating things for each other and to help each other. We're working for the people with money who want to make money off of us. And that's kind of the American way.
It's a scary thought because it is a system that indie creators are living in right now. We depend on these tech platforms, and all of these tech platforms play by the rule of, if we can completely screw over indie creators to make a, percentage point bump in the stock price that is in the short term to meet our quarterly earnings target, we're always going to do that, which is why time and time again we see these tech platforms make decisions that just seem to really screw over indie artists, and indie artists depend on these platforms to keep their careers going. It's a frightening prospect.
Well, okay. So it's interesting to me because I think about that, and I think that, well, that's the case with all investors, right? When you invest in something, you expect to make money off of it, or at least you hope to. And then I think about Broadway, where 3 out of the, 1 out of every 5 shows actually makes a profit. And the people who invest in Broadway, sure, they hope their show makes money, and sure, they hope their show is a success. But they invest in Broadway because they want the art form to continue, because they believe in the art form, because they want to see art created. Because that's one of those investments where you're not going, oh, well, this is a guaranteed winner, or this is how I'm going to make my money. This is, I have money and I want to support the artists who are making things I believe in. And I don't see that in the entertainment platforms from the tech sector. Like, where are the investors that go, I've got a lot of money and I want to create something where I get to see people create what I want to see created? And it's about putting your money into it. I don't know why that hasn't kind of rolled over at all anywhere.
Well, certainly the investment expectations for big tech are going to be wildly different than the investment expectations for Broadway. Like, the Broadway investors often are coming into a Broadway investment having made money somewhere else, often in big tech.
Right.
And then this is their labor of love. Like, it's just as much patronage as it
Right.
is an investment. Like, I want to be the one that helps revive 42nd Street. And
Yeah.
that alone is enough for me, even if the thing doesn't make me a lot of money. And those, people don't have those same investment expectations in tech. If you're investing
But
in tech, it's because
why?
you want 10x growth.
Right, but why? Right? So what's the difference really? Like if it's on a stage or on a virtual stage, like why can't we find the same investors who are willing to care in the physical world and in the virtual world? Like I guess I just don't, theoretically it should be there. Like the people with money in theory still care about something, and if they understand the tech world, if you've got musicians who went from gosh this is annoying to now I'm making millions of dollars, why can't or aren't they getting together and going, you know what, I want to create a platform where I can watch people create and make things that I'm not going to be guaranteed to make money off of. Let's just see what happens. It might make me money, great, but I'm not doing this for the money, I'm doing this for the love. Why don't we have more passion projects in the tech sector of entertainment availability?
Yeah, we see that, but not in traditional investments in tech companies. Where we see it is more in the crowdfunding space.
Right.
And whether it's equity crowdfunding, which we're starting to see more of, where you can crowdfund actual investments from people, similar to what they do with Broadway these days, or it's just people wanting to contribute to an artist Kickstarter or Patreon, not because they are looking for a return, but because they want to be a part of somebody's art.
Right.
And to be part of that. And that, and there are some who are betting on that being the thing that saves this industry, like it's getting Kickstarter and Patreon. Anyway,
I believe in the people. I do. I hope I believe in the people.
Well, but that's because, as we previously established, you're a hero walking
I'm a
among
bleeding
us,
heart.
who, when the Red Cross says drop everything because we need you to be there for somebody who is suffering, you immediately drop everything you're doing. But
we need
but
a
you need to
happier
be protected.
turn.
You're a good heart.
Can we turn to something happier? I need Cassandra to bring joy into my life or something.
And she often does that for me. So let us take a break. We'll come back with Cassandra Kubinski here on Break the Business.
Ryan Kairalla here. I hope you're enjoying the show, and I hope that you're getting a lot out of it. I do what I do because I care about creators like you. A lot. I've dedicated my career to helping creative professionals, entrepreneurs, and organizations move forward. I do it by hosting this program, and I'm also proud to do it in my legal practice. If you're a creative professional looking for solutions-oriented legal services to help you further your goals, I'd love to help. My firm RKPA does contracts, commercial law, copyright, trademark, and more. Visit rkpalaw.com to learn more. That's rkpalaw.com. Ryan A. Kairalla, PA, Miami, Florida.
Streaming services for Break the Business provided by LEK Entertainment. LEK Entertainment is a full-service entertainment company offering everything from consultations to full-scale events and productions, including audio and video productions, voiceovers, staged theatrical productions, script and music development, and streaming services. For more information, visit lekentertainment.com. LEK Entertainment wants to help you bring your story to life.
Thanks for supporting Break the Business. If you have a question or topic that you want us to discuss, email us at breakthebusiness@gmail.com. You can follow the host, that's me, on Twitter at Ryan Kair, and you can follow the show at the BTB Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to the show on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, and on all major podcast platforms. And now, let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to Break the Business, everybody. Ryan Kairalla here with producer Lauren. And we're just so overjoyed to have you joining us wherever you're joining us, whether it's on all the major podcast platforms or on the live streaming platforms or on Sirius XM 145, much love to Slam Radio. Wherever you're checking us out, we are so thrilled to have you. and it is a joy to serve you with this great content week after week. Let's go ahead and bring out our guest. I'm excited to chat with her, Lauren. She's one of my favorite people. She's an award-winning singer-songwriter, jingle artist, and actress. Her latest single, Money Mantra with Olivia Kay, is available now, and you can follow her at Cassandra Kubinski on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We are happy to welcome our friend Cassandra Kubinski on Break the Business. Hi, Cassandra.
Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing?
Doing so well. Man, that setup you got there, Cassandra, is just 10 out of 10. You got the tasteful plant there, you got the piano, you got the hands-free microphone, and your mic quality, mwah, chef's kiss.
Thank you. I mean, listen, during the pandemic, right, we all had to figure out how to get our production value high from home. So I appreciate it, for anybody watching on the live stream in real time or, in replay. I've been at this little setup. It's just a little corner of my office. If you could see, it's nothing like super fancy, but thank you. I do enjoy my twinkle lights and my magical plant over here.
It's a
I
didn't even see the twinkle lights at first.
Yeah,
That's great.
right. I mean, there it is, twinkle. I'd really love to like more twinkle lights. So I've been wanting to change up this setup for a little while now. So you never know. Next time I'm here, I might have like a red curtain or like something like that behind me.
Ooh.
I'd take red curtain. I'd avoid like a whole lot of twinkle lights. So you might just get like reflection of light.
Right. That might be a bit much. But I was a theater kid, so a red curtain always sort of feels like home. So
Oh, yeah. I usually have one behind me, and I don't today. I'm in a black void.
yes,
But I
because
like
you're in a
the
black
red
box
cur-
theater.
I like
I
it.
like it.
There you go. So, Cassandra, in the first segment, we had an evil robot give us some advice about how indie creators can build a healthy relationship with money. He talked about how it's important to build an emergency fund to separate your business and personal expenses come tax time. The AI overlord had lots of great advice for us. And I know that helping artists build a good relationship with money is something that you care about a lot too. It was sort of the inspiration behind your latest single, Money Mantra, that you did with Olivia Kay recently. Can you tell us a little bit about how that came together and how you wanted to spread the message to others of just getting better with money and having a better relationship with it?
Yeah, sure. So, like you mentioned, my latest single is called Money Mantra. It's a collaboration with my girl Olivia Kay, who is a really seriously amazing, badass Brooklyn-based artist. And, the two of us met in a course. And in this course, which was called Truth School, we were simultaneously up-leveling our energetics around our careers, our money, relationships, all kind of, really like energetic work. And then also bringing in practical and logistical up-leveling for our independent entrepreneurial careers. So at some point during this course, she and I were just making up this little jam like on the Zoom, right? Because like everything happened on Zoom during the pandemic. And somebody made up this hook, money in the morning, money in my sleep. I'm a money magnet, it can't resist me. And it was like, what? So this kind of like did nothing for a couple years. And then we picked it back up thanks to our friend Lissa, who was also in this course. And we fleshed it out into a whole song this last fall, which just dropped actually like about a week ago. So Money Mantra, check it out. Anyway, as far as like how does it help artists up level, or how does it help people kind of up level their money consciousness? What Olivia and I talked a lot about was how we can tend to get really tense and tight around the topic of money. And for both she and I, not necessarily everybody kind of comes from this perspective or frame of mind, but both of us feel really strongly that the attitude and the energy you bring to a thing or to an area of your life really influences and maybe even really strongly dictates the results that you get in that area of your life. So we're like, if people are out there feeling really resentful of money, tense about money, just kind of angry in general in their money life, then there isn't really the opportunity for money to flow to you. The way I think about it is like we're all in relationship with money the way we're in relationship with each other. So, if if you're out there and I'm thinking ill of you, or I'm thinking like that guy never calls me, or that guy never does anything for me, you know, and that's kind of like the energy that I'm putting out there in our relationship. Can I really expect you to like love up on me? You know, if that's kind of what I'm putting out there. So that's kind of like the way we feel about money too. It's like, if you're out there going like, like it's, you know, it's a bad situation, like money never does anything for me and there's never enough. That's kind of like what you perpetuate and create. This is a long intro just to say Money Mantra is it's a real jam. It's kind of an indie pop, lo-fi, hip hop infused jam. It's like a bunch of just swaggy money mantras in a row that you can like put on. You like wake up in the morning, you're like, today I just want to like feel good about my money situation. Like I want to feel confidence. Like hit that play button and just like off you go. And we're calling it kind of like a, you know, a 3-minute chiropractic adjustment on your money consciousness.
I love that.
I need that.
And to me, Money Mantra is just one example of something that I think you do really well, and is kind of a centerpiece of the way that you approach your art, which is you're always looking for a partnership opportunity, whether it is partnering with another creator, which you've done a lot and you do very well, or partnering with businesses or nonprofits. You're always looking for, how can I bring somebody else in on this art or something else in on this artistic project to help get the most out of it and to help expand its reach and to help do some good along the way. Can you talk about like when you sort of made the decision in your career that was going to be how you approached art?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. So I think it's always been there for me a little bit. As far as really looking to make a difference in the kind of service and community component of creating music. My best memories in music and in entertainment always involve being a part of a group, whether that was doing musical theater and being a part of a cast as a kid and a teenager, being a part of an incredible chorus that I was in high school that was like hundreds of kids in our town. And then, you know, carrying on into my music industry life, I found that when I became a singer-songwriter, I was starting out in the beginning of the DIY era. So I really bought into this mythology of DIY. To be honest, I don't anymore. I call it DIT, do it together, because I don't think you do anything yourself. You know, we don't make huge things happen in the world and we don't affect change ourselves. We always are in relationship and partnership with various people, right? So I think where I really started to apply it actively in my career, without getting, you know, way down the rabbit hole of memories, was just, suffice it to say that I spent a long time in that very DIY, very like little red hen, I'm gonna do everything kind of phase, and really got burnt out and like almost kind of didn't want to be making music and making songs anymore. And I took a big step back, took a break. And when I came back around to how much I loved songwriting, how much I loved making music, and how much I absolutely couldn't not do it. Like I had to keep doing it. I think that was about the time that I started really looking at, well, what are some of the factors that have made my favorite projects my favorites? Like, why were they my favorites? And one of the themes that kept occurring to me was like these partnerships, these collaborations, these spaces where I found myself working with other creatives. And so I started to really build that actively into my process. And so since then, as you mentioned, I've done that on, dozens of songs and or music videos and or concerts. I almost don't do like anything, you know, as a solo artist anymore, or at least I don't perceive it that way anymore. I feel like, you know, even if it's my song, and the song is coming out like just under my name, that I really look to create some type of a partnership in the launch show or in the music video. So I guess that's, you know, that's kind of when I started.
What usually comes first, the collaboration or the content? Do you create the content and go, oh, I have an organization that I think I could combine this work with to help get it out there, or I have an idea for a song and I know who I can partner with? Or do you find the person or organization that you want to work with and say, let's start building something together from a blank sheet of paper?
It's mostly been the content first for me. And I often create a song and then already know, because once I've created a song, I know where it comes from emotionally. I know what it's about. So, two kind of charitable partnerships that I set up. One was with the autism world for a song called Not So Different. One was for kind of the pet rescue world around a song called You Get Me. And so when I had written both of those songs, I knew what was driving them. I knew, so the song was really about a certain thing. And then it was sort of easy to go out and look for partners that matched and that would resonate theoretically with the message and potentially benefit, from being associated with the song and vice versa. So I would say primarily it's the content first and then reaching out to a possibly aligned collaborator.
I love that, Lauren. When we talk about the launch of any kind of piece of content, Lauren, there's always sort of the steps that you're going to take in your launch process, right? Like, how are we promoting this? What channels are we using? How, if it's a piece of music, how am I distributing it? What's the budget for promotion, distribution, all that stuff? And what Cassandra is suggesting, at least from what I'm hearing, is one of the steps in that launch process is going to be who's the partner with, what organization, what person, what group is going to be part of this song's next step and be part of that song's future, so that song can not only have a wider reach, but that song can help somebody along the way, or in Cassandra's case, help really, really good causes. I mean, that's so cool to me. I like the idea of every artist thinking about not just the what of their promotion or their post, creation process, but the who. Who am I partnering with as I create this work? That's so cool to me.
For both reasons, too. She's like, who can I bring in that will help my project benefit and who will help me creatively get to where I'd like to go?
Yeah.
And like you said, helping other artists is how all these artists survive. Like, we need people to think of us, too, and go, hey, I'd love for you to help with this. So I appreciate that you do that, Cassandra. Reaching out to other artists helps everybody.
Now, Cassandra, has the pandemic made that harder because everybody sort of is staying home and not traveling and interacting as much? And if so, do you have any advice for artists on how they can kind of bridge that distance that, the pandemic and, lockdown and post-lockdown has created for us?
I don't find it made it more difficult. In fact, I think it made it easier in certain cases.
Really?
Because certain partners you would never have been able to get when they were busy running around doing physical things. Suddenly were just like you. They were grounded. They were home. So, and they wanted to remain vital and they wanted to remain feeling connected and creative. And we were all navigating, wherever we were in that space. So, one of the partnerships, and I formed multiple during the pandemic, but one of them was for my last single, Burn It Down. So I had a lot of sync licensing placements on a TV show called Dance Moms, which was on Lifetime. And so during the pandemic, I don't know, I was just in another space of like, what am I creating? Like, how do I personally stay creative and connected? And with Burn It Down, I had reached out to a few of the dancers on Dance Moms who I just thought were great. I just really thought their art form moved me. And one of the people that I reached out to, Hannah Grace Colon, did respond. And so we got into this dialogue. I sent her a few different songs, options. We were like, what are we going to do together? Ultimately, we created this music video for Burn It Down where she dances in it. And it's this really dark, theatrical, artful piece we shot at the Triad Theater in Manhattan, where I am performing on the piano, which is what I do, and she is dancing, and she kind of represents the fire in the metaphor of Burn It Down. You'll have to go see the music video if you want to see, how it all shakes out. But that entire collaboration, that entire partnership was established, ideated, worked through, and finally actually happened. And that music video came out last summer. So, that's an example of something where, I don't feel that the pandemic really got in the way of that. It probably facilitated that happening, actually.
because people are craving those partnerships and connections now more than ever. And we've all gotten a lot better, frankly, against our will, at communicating over, say, video conference and, taking our once audio podcasts and turning them into live streams.
And the technology moved quickly too, right? Like all of a sudden you had platforms where you could collaborate musically. I
think they were there before. They just weren't being as widely used, and it's I think fully accepted now. Another thing that I've found with creative partnerships was that there was more kind of openness to collaborating with people that, number one, that you just didn't know at all, but you just generally liked their vibe and their art. So like if someone reached out, I did 2 partnerships actually with 2 different yoga music creators. DJ Taz Rashid, who's an absolutely amazing DJ and producer who works very often in the yoga and kind of like yoga event and festival space as a live DJ, and also constantly putting out music. So we did a remix of my song Stardust, and we just met in LA like 2 weeks ago for the first time after creating that 3 years ago, So the fact that he was amenable to doing that was really cool, even though, we were not going to be seeing each other in person in the pandemic. And another yoga creator, musician that I worked with, Songs of Eden, who's in Sweden. We have never met. We've had many a WhatsApp call and, a Zoom. And I really think of him as a friend, I think of him not only as a collaborator on the song Now Is the Time that we worked on together. But yeah, I think, so I don't know, for me, I feel like collaboratively now, these partnerships are driven primarily by energy and vibe. And then, secondarily, of course, we're assessing and kind of looking at, hey, like what can you get out of this from me? What can I get out of this from you? How can we amplify this to do good for others as well? As you mentioned, those are important things in the space. I don't think that anybody is purely altruistic in these pursuits. I think, like, of course we're looking at like how can we advance whatever desire and dream that we have to have our music or our message or whatever to be heard further and wider. But there's always a way if you want multiple outcomes, if you want to win and you want them to win and you want the greater audience to win, there is a way to create it so that all of those outcomes are fulfilled.
And you've done it time and time again. And thankfully, in your case, like the organizations that you're helping winning are also like really good causes. So it's like, you're winning, the audience is winning, and also we're raising autism awareness, or we're getting puppies adopted. And that must make you feel really good. And the song 1 Million Hearts, which I would love for you to play in just a bit here, is another great example of that. Can you tell us a little bit about how that song came together?
Sure. 1 Million Hearts actually was another song that I wrote kind of early in the pandemic, having a moment of, do I matter? Does my voice matter? Does this art matter? I have so many friends and loving fans and industry people, and just so many people that have been kind to me and good to me over the course of my career. And yet this dream I have of, a hit song, of really moving millions of hearts consistently, not just sort of like as a fluke because, hey, I got a sync placement, but like really building and leading a community of millions of hearts with my songs. It just felt like it hadn't happened. And so the song that I wrote was a little bit of, I think, what I needed to hear in that moment of doubt. But it was also because I was listening to what I was hearing out there in the culture and what I was hearing out there amongst my fellow artists, especially independent artists, who were also doubting that what they had to say mattered and that their music made a difference to people, especially in the pandemic, where it felt, to some of us, not all of us, but to a lot of us, it felt like, holy moly, like one of the ways I'm most powerful, which is to show up in the flesh and move some cells, like I don't get to do that right now. Like how can I possibly make a difference? Just being another head on the internet. So, 1 Million Hearts really came out of addressing that question.
Wow. And just the end result is really just something that warms my heart. I adore this song. And I know in the interests of like what you're supposed to do when a guest comes on your show, it's always like, oh, can you play whatever your latest single is? But I just love 1 Million Hearts so much that I'm hoping I can exercise a little host's privilege here and see if we can get you to play that one instead. And I'll make a promise here. The audience, if you're listening, viewing this, go listen to Money Mantra as well. Go download that. It's a great song. It's fabulous. Cassandra and Olivia Kay absolutely crush it. But right now on the podcast, if we can hear 1 Million Hearts, that would just make me so happy.
I would be honored. Yeah. Money Mantra is all swag and all fun, my people. I'd just like to dedicate this to any creative people listening and anybody who's got a dream or a business or, something that they're really trying to put out into the world and, and maybe feeling a little doubtful about or a little stopped by. This is for you. I see you. You're trying to change, make a difference. Rearrange, but when you start to shift, you feel too ashamed, too estranged, so busy handing out blame or taking it. I feel you. It's no easy task, no small ask to let go of the comfortable fears that you know. Take the risk to exist as yourself without faking it. What does it take? How does it start? Reaching 1 million hearts. And how in this world will you make your mark? When 1 million hearts, they need you now. What you've got to give, and only you can. It's what you've learned and lived, and that's how it starts. Reaching 1 million hearts, hearts, hearts. 1 million hearts, hearts. I feel you. I've been there a few thousand times in the rise and the fall. Sure that I couldn't possibly matter at all. But then why does this dream always reappear? What does it take? How does it start? Reaching 1 million hearts. And how in this world will you make your mark? When 1 million hearts, they need you now. What you've got to give, and only you can. It's what you've learned and lived, and that's how it starts. With one breath, one step, one less regret. One and one, and on, till one day there's a million. That's what it takes. That's how it starts. Yeah, 1 million hearts, they need you now. What you've got to give, and only you can. It's what you've learned and lived, and that's how it starts. Healing your heart. Yeah, that's how it starts. Reaching 1 million hearts, hearts. 1 million hearts, hearts. 1 million hearts. 1 million hearts.
Cassandra Kabinski, everybody, you can find out more about her work and just check out all of her amazing material by checking out Cassandra Kabinski at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, CassandraKabinski.com. Cassandra, that was transcendent. That was fabulous. Thank you so much for playing that on the program.
My absolute pleasure.
Oh, God, I love that. I can't believe it. All right. Before we let you go, Cassandra, as I compose myself here, and before we sign off on radio, one last question for you. Do you have any last tips for the indie creators out there to help them move their careers forward?
Yeah, I think, it's a big question, right? And I mentor artists. I work with artists as sort of a coach and a guide. I speak at conferences, as you do, Ryan, and right, don't we get asked this big fat giant question, like we're all going to wrap up like all of the advice that you need in like one little tidbit?
It's such a not a fair question, and yet I ask it every week.
I know, but here's what I think is great about it is that each creator, each leader, including every one of you listening, there are so many lessons and nuggets of wisdom that you have from your experience. And so my tip, actually, what I always like to share is to develop a practice that helps you tune into what your truth is, what your intuition is, because the noise, quote, the talking heads, quote, are never going to go away. There are always going to be, 9 million books and articles and blogs and podcasts and gurus and experts and panelists and like whoever who tells you like, this is what it is. This is how you have to do it. If you're not doing this, if you're not running ads, if you're not spending money, if you're not whatever, it's no wonder that, overwhelm and burnout and depression and, like that these things can grow so rampantly in ours and every other business. So seriously, I like really mean this. My biggest piece of advice to people is to actually detach from that physically, like phones off, like go for a walk in the woods, and hold yourself accountable for creating your own practice that grounds you in what feels right to you. Because like we cannot do everything and we cannot do everything all at once. So, in the mounds of suggestions and information that you're getting every day, having a practice that grounds you and puts you in a place where you can really listen into like, what feels right to me? Of these 10 options, if I were to do only one, for my mental sanity as well as my bandwidth and my wallet, right? Like, what's the one that actually feels right to me, no matter what anybody else is saying is right? So that's my piece of advice.
Terrific. Cassandra, thank you so much for being on the show this week. Thanks to you as well, producer Lauren, and thanks to all of our viewers and listeners for checking out Break the Business. We'll see you next week.